annual Day of Giving is right around the corner. Hello, I'm Erin Holly.
Sports arenas and schools are getting ready to reopen in Philadelphia as the beginning of spring is almost here. We have all this and more coming up on LTV News, where the action never stops. Hello and welcome to LTV News, where we bring you everything from 20th and Olney Avenue, Philadelphia, and the world.
There is a lot to catch up on in the next half hour, as our producer Sam Long had the opportunity to catch up with former LTV News anchor Nick Puleo to see what it is like starting a new job during a pandemic.
Coming up on Tuesday, March 23rd, Lasalle will be holding its 8th annual Day of Giving. This event is a 24-hour fundraising event to support Lasalle University. To date, Lasalle has raised $2.2 million towards the General Scholarship Fund through the Day of Giving. Lasalle will be taking donations online on their website, on the phone at 215-951-1539, or by mail. This year, Lasalle will also be accepting donations over Venmo at Explorers Give. Any donations are greatly appreciated.
In August 2020, the university launched the Honors Program Scholarship Initiative with the goal of raising $3 million in scholarship aid by the year 2023. Less than 7 months into the campaign, the fundraising initiative, with the help of LaSalle alumnus TJ McCarrick and countless others, already had generated $1 million in gifts and pledges toward the initiative and in support of LaSalle's Honors Program. The LaSalle Honors Program has produced foreign ambassadors and Fulbright scholars. It has nurtured children's authors, undergraduate researchers, and world travelers. Annually, the university awards $4.5 million in total scholarship support to LaSalle Honors Program students. To learn more about the Honors Program Scholarship Initiative or how you can donate, visit lasalle.edu/Honors Program Scholarship Initiative.
Spring is approaching, March is finally here, and with it comes LaSalle's Mission and Heritage Month. LaSalle strives to reflect and embrace the university's mission and core values of our spiritual and educational heritage across the campus this month. LaSalle celebrates its 340-year-long history of its Institute of the Brothers of the Christian Schools and the Lasallian Mission. LaSalle is a diverse community of educators who represent the Lasallian values not only during March, but year-round. A few key events are scheduled this month to promote mission and heritage, such as the 8th Annual Day of Giving on March 23rd, the John the 23rd Passim and Terrace Lecture on March 30th, and the Michael J. Curlin Memorial Lecture on April 7th.
With internships and jobs being fully remote or put on hold due to the pandemic, LaSalle students have become frustrated. Sam had the opportunity to speak with former LTV News producer Nick Puleo about what the process of starting a new job now looks like.
Hello, everybody. I'm back this week for another interview. Today, I'm here with former LaSalle TV News host, producer, the man himself, Nick Puleo. He's been MIA this season, and we're going to catch up with all things Nick. We miss him very dearly, and I'm excited to sit down and chat with him for a little bit because he's had some real exciting things happen in the last few months of his life, and I'm really excited to get into it with him. So, Nick, thank you so much for coming back and sitting down with me for a little bit.
I'm glad to be back. You couldn't get rid of me. Here I am.
All right. So first things first, what have you been up to since we lost you?
What have I been up to? Well, on one hand, I still have 4 classes I'm taking. Final stretch. I'm in the home stretch of my degree. 2 of the classes I have to take for my degree, and the other 2 are just electives. But I am getting there. So 2 days a week I'm in class. Like I said, finishing up my degree, almost seen to the finish line. I know we're into March, which I'm super excited about. Getting to May, getting to graduation, and then in the fall I'll actually start a master's in strategic communication at LaSalle. So I'll be around for the graduate program.
Perfect.
That's what I do. I feel like a little bit of my time. The majority of my time I am working. I've started the full-time job that I'm going to be taking in May. I am a assistant account executive with Braithwaite Communications. They are a PR marketing and branding firm in Center City. And so I have had the opportunity to join a number of accounts that Braithwaite works on. And it's my responsibility to pretty much deliver on whatever those accounts require. Braithwaite does a variety of things, everything from traditional PR, media relations, event support, crisis work. They do rebranding, they do digital marketing, they are starting to get into SEO, tons of graphic work. So really each client that I have is different and unique, and no 2 days are the same, which keeps me on my toes, keeps things exciting. And so I've been in my Lasalle residence hall room, going to class, and then I'll take off my student hat, put my PR hat on, and trying to be in meetings and try to do things for clients right here from my room, which my coworkers have affectionately labeled my jail cell. They're really digging the cinder block. They're like, Nick is live from jail, but communal living, firewalls. Love.
No, that's great. So how did you get involved in Braithwaite to begin with?
So funny story. So I was an intern with Braithwaite for almost a year before I was hired in my current role. So I started in January of 2020. In the pre-COVID times when you could actually not wear a mask and actually go into the office and work. So I had known of somebody in one of my classes who had interned at Braithwaite, and I was in the process of searching for internships, and I really wanted to look for an agency internship. Because I had done in-house internships before. I had kind of known what that deal was, and I wanted to see the agency side of things. I know it was a lot more exciting, fast-paced, not the same, think on your feet. There was a whole different skill set. So I was looking for agencies in Philadelphia, and I came across Braithwaite. It came highly recommended, like I said, from this classmate. I applied. I was hired as an intern in January. I stayed with Braithwaite until May, through the entire COVID transition, from going into the office, taking SEPTA to work every day, to basically just working from my house. The summertime rolled around, and people were still unsure whether summer internships were a thing, what were we doing, and I really was enjoying my time at Braithwaite, and they really liked me. So I was able to talk to my internship coordinator, and she basically said, do you want to stay on for the summer? If you want to, the position's there. I said, yeah, let's do it. So I stayed on now through the summer. That was to August. We get to August, we get ready to go back to school. Things are still a little unclear with COVID. She says again, do you want to stay? And, there are people that are going to tell you that they much prefer having 6 different internship experiences. And I interned at 8 different places. That's some people's, train of thought, frame of mind. I was of the idea that this was only technically my second internship, but I'm much more of a quality over quantity type of guy. So when they rolled around and she offered the fall semester again, I said, sure, let's do it. So I stayed on in August. Then there was a bit of staff reshuffling in November, this past November, where some people were leaving the agency, people that I had shadowed extensively. I had worked on a lot of their accounts. I knew their clients. I knew the type of work that it required. It really aligned with my skill set. And it sort of was the right place at the right time. I had said we were coming up on the end of our fall semester, so I knew I had a break coming up, and then I was able to build my schedule for this current semester so that I would have multiple days free, full days, so I could work. And I sort of made myself available, and we sort of talked about it, and it just seemed like a natural fit. I had been with Braithwaite 11 months at that time. I was going on a full year, and I really knew the agency. I knew the people. I knew the clients, I knew the work, I knew the culture. I'm wearing our beanies now. And it was just the right fit, and it really meshed. And was one of those lucky opportunities that people say, I just, fell into the role. I mean, like I said, I worked for 11 months prior to that. I was doing 40 hours a week over the summer, really getting to know the agency, getting to know the work, getting to know the clients. And when an opening came, I sort of took my shot, and it paid off. So we talked about it, And I said, I can start now working part-time, and I'll do it while I finish my degree. And then in May, I'll start full-time in the role. But, I'm sort of in it fake full-time now. So it's been such a learning experience since I started in November till now. There's so much more you have to learn from being an intern to being actually client-facing, being, in the role officially. So I've learned a lot. I've had a great time with that. And like I said, to sum it up, every day is a different day. No 2 days are exactly the same. So it definitely keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. And in catching up before this, we were talking a little bit, and you are now in charge of overseeing a lot of the intern stuff at Braithwaite, which is why I brought you on here today, because it's always good to pick people's brains about internships, what's going on with that.
Sure.
So what's it like having to manage interns your age? Is it weird for you at all, or?
I'm not going to lie. It's different, it requires a different approach, because what do I have that other than experience that some of these other, like, we're the same age. We are, both getting similar degrees. Some of us are in the same, city. So it requires a different approach. I mean, you can't be dictatorial. I can't just lay the hammer down and talk at them. I sort of have to talk with them and approach it in a way that's sort of be that mentor, not in sort of a younger brother sort of thing. Because like I said, we're pretty much the same age, give or take a year or two. But just being there and being able to share my experience, because I do have, like I said, over a year of experience being with Braithwaite and being in the agency world. So there are some tips I can teach and some tricks I can give. So it's all about the approach. And I'm starting to learn. We're right now hiring our summer crop of interns. So shameless plug, anyone out there, if you are looking for a fantastic PR marketing branding experience, even if you don't have any experience yourself, shoot your resume and your cover letter over to info@gobraithwaite, BRAITHWAITE.com, or just Google us and the info email is there. And we can have a conversation. I mean, we're always looking for new talent. And like I said, you don't have to be an expert. I was not an expert at PR. I had no idea how an agency worked before I got to Braithwaite. But doing the internship was that learning experience, that something I wasn't going to get at Lasalle. Lasalle is great. Lasalle is fantastic. I love Lasalle with my entire, with my whole heart. But sometimes an internship can provide you things that the classroom just is not going to give.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think that stretching our time a little far. So thank you so much for joining. Sorry if I made this a little too long, but it's always a pleasure to sit down and catch back up with you, Nick. I'm excited for all the future holds for you. Just everything seems like it's coming up, Nick, this year already, and we all love that. We're all rooting for you back in the studio. We miss you dearly, and thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Maybe I'll make a cameo appearance later on. Call me up. You know where I live. You know where I'm at.
You want to send it back to the desk?
All right, Erin, Justin, back to you.
Thank you.
It's time for our first break, but coming up, a local school district is adding an important curriculum. Stay tuned.
Yo, bro, what's good?
What's going on?
How you feeling, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
When'd you start smoking?
Smoking? It's a jewel, bro.
It's a jewel?
Yeah.
Listen, you might as well be smoking cigarettes. When you start juuling or vaping, you're 4 times more likely to start smoking cigarettes.
Is that true?
That's very true. Give me the jewel. You don't need it.
To learn more about e-cigarettes, go to thetruth.com.
You know you watch. You shouldn't be watching this. You should be watching Lasalle TV. Hey, watch Lasalle TV. You know you watch.
Man, Keegan is taking this You Know You Watch thing way too seriously.
You know you watch LaSalle TV.
On Monday, March 1st, a new plan was announced for the return of pre-K through second grade Philadelphia students following mediation between the Philadelphia School District and the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers. Unlike previous return plans, not all of the students will return at once. Mayor Jim Kenney held a news conference where he announced that the schools will be reviewed in batches for their readiness for their safe return of students and staff. 53 schools have been approved, and students whose families have selected the hybrid learning plan returned on March 8th. Teachers and staff returned on March 3rd. The city plans to have the return dates for all the pre-K to second grade hybrid learning students announced by March 22nd.
Last weekend, the Wells Fargo Center reopened its doors to eager Flyers fans for the first time in a year. Things look a lot different at the stadium this year. Fans arrive at a suggested time given when purchasing tickets to try to stop crowds from coming in all at once. From the second you leave your vehicle, a mask must be worn at all times except for eating and drinking. All transactions are cashless, and 3,100 fans inside are all spread out into pods. It is great to have fans back inside again.
On March 1st, Governor Wolf's administration had announced in a press release of the revised and lifting of mitigation restrictions that were effective statewide on March 1st. As COVID-19 cases continue to drop and the state's vaccination plans are amplified, the Wolf administration believes it's finally safe to start leading the state to a robust economy recovery. In November, the Department of Health required anyone over the age of 11 who visits from out of state to provide a negative COVID-19 test result or to self-quarantine for 14 days upon entering Pennsylvania. On March 1st, this order is now terminated in its entirety.
Beginning this fall, Cherry Hill public school students will be required to take a course on African American history in order to graduate. The Cherry Hill School Board voted 8-0 last Tuesday night to make South Jersey District the first to mandate the course for its 11,000 students. The initiative has become well received by many people online, with many hoping their school boards will do the same. Philadelphia School District students have had the same mandatory class for a few years, and with the addition of Cherry Hill, many hope that this trend continues across schools in the country. Coming up after this last break, President Joe Biden has ordered many more of the COVID vaccines that will be delivered within a matter of weeks.
According to the Mayo Clinic, exercising has stress-busting benefits by bumping up your endorphins and improving your mood.
This is Kevin, and Kevin could use some kindness. Here's Ian. He could be that man. Ian chooses to be inconsiderate and not hold the door for Kevin, and in turn, Kevin suffers. Kindness may be a choice, but doing so is always the right one. So if Ian can make the right choice, you can too.
On Monday, February 11th, it was announced that President Biden finalized deals to buy 200 million more COVID-19 vaccine doses from Pfizer and Moderna by the end of July. This will increase the likelihood of delivering on his promise to have all Americans inoculated by midsummer. Additionally, Biden said Pfizer and Moderna have changed to expedite the delivery of 100 million doses each by a month, moving them up to May instead of June. The new orders of the vaccine come on top of doses that are already scheduled to be delivered by the two companies in March. The aggressive push to increase the supply of hard-to-come-by life-saving injections is part of the around-the-clock work of the new administration and the nation's leading healthcare officials. There is even more relief on the way as Johnson & Johnson just got approval for their single-dose COVID vaccine.
During the month of March, we take the time to bring attention to all of the extraordinary women and their contributions to history, culture, business, social movements, and more. In the month of March, we celebrate Women's History Month. For centuries in America, women's contributions were often overlooked, and that is why we take the time to celebrate them in the month of March. Rosa Parks sparked the civil rights movement when she refused to give up her seat on a bus in 1955. And for the first time, we have not only a woman holding office of vice president, but also the first Black woman and person of Indian descent to be sworn into that high of office, Kamala Harris. Women have played pivotal roles in building this country. Women's History Month is an important opportunity to pause and honor their profound contributions.
The FDA has recently given the green light to a new device that could reduce the high risk for athletes getting traumatic brain injuries from head impacts. The device, called the Q-collar, is worn around the back and side of the neck and is shaped like the letter C. The science is that it presses down on blood vessels in the neck, creating pressure, which increases blood volume in the skull. The compression leads to less movement of the brain inside the skull, which will limit traumatic brain injuries like concussions. The FDA conducted a study using high school football players to test the new device. 77% of players who wore the Q-collar in the study did not have any brain structure changes, while 73% of participants who did not wear the Q-collar did have brain structure change. In addition, a Carolina Panthers linebacker who retired from brain injury was seen wearing the Q-collar to protect his head in his last professional football season. The Q-collar will now be sold over the country to consumers this year.
An abandoned sheep that was being weighed down by 78 pounds of wool was recently saved by rescuers in Australia. After someone spotted this sheep named Barack wandering in the forest, he was brought to Edgar's Mission, an animal sanctuary near Melbourne. Typically, sheep need shearing about once a year. Otherwise, their wool gets completely overgrown. Barack's wool was so overgrown that it weighed him down and caused thick matting that covered his face. Barack survived in the wild by eating grass and drinking from puddles. The rescuers from Edgar's Mission found sticks, twigs, and insects in the 78 pounds of wool that they shaved off. Barack's coat is the second highest record weight of sheep fleece recorded. Edgar's Mission stated that Barack is recovering well and is able to walk more easily without his coat. Well, that just about does it for this episode, but be sure to find us on the web as well as the rest of LaSalle TV on our Facebook page. We love to hear your thoughts, so tweet at us using our Twitter handle and start the conversation.
If you missed the scoop and want to see it, you can find episodes on YouTube on our LaSalle TV Philly page.
Until next time, for Justin, Sam, and the entire crew, I'm Erin Holly. Thanks for watching LTV News, where the action never stops. And please, continue to wear a mask.